I really feel like we live in the golden age of cycling. I mean, if you have the means, you could literally get anything you want, right down to the very same bike your favorite tour pros are riding. They come in various flavors: cheap, expensive, classic, vintage, endurance, aero, fast, slow, carbon, steel, what have you. They come in all shapes and size. It's truly mind-boggling. Same goes true for wheel sets. The choices are absolutely limitless, whether you opt for Western brands, whether you opt for Eastern brands. World is your oyster. Now, up until several years ago, Chinese products, even some wheels, carried a certain reputation. Now, is that still true in year 2024? Especially for a set that retails for $1,100. Those wheels better deliver. Welcome to this episode. Sit back, grab some coffee. Let's talk about it. Roll the intro. Hello everyone, how are you? This is yours truly, Diabetic Cycling, coming at you once again. This channel is, as always, brought to you by your engagement. So I would really appreciate you hitting the subscribe button, hitting the notification bell, and if I have delivered at the end of this episode, please hit that like button and feel free to ask me any questions down below. Normally, this channel is sponsored by my own damn wallet, but today's episode, I didn't actually spend any money because the kind folks at Magene sent me the wheel set EXAR DB405 Ultra for me to share with you, my viewers, my audience, and let you guys know all about the wheels. And I can hear some of you already say, oh my God, here we go. The man was sent some free products and here we go, he's gonna be a shill. So let's make something very clear. Hopefully by now I have earned enough of your trust and faith that I would come clean to you with complete transparency when it comes to these things. Because mind you, I don't want to come off as a douchey product pusher at the end of the day. I choose very carefully who I decide to show on my channel. Case in point, just like the Cyc Plus, the portable mini pumps, which I thought was actually a value add for those of us that are out on the road riding. And so I decided to create a relationship with those guys. And that's where you got to see those pumps. And I appreciate every one of you that bought those mini pumps using my affiliate link and the discount code. By the way, at the end of this episode, I will also have a discount code for the wheel set that I'm about to show you today. So when Magene first reached out to me, I had to disclose to them, hey, listen, I need to come on the channel, and when I show the wheels, I need to be able to say that the wheels were sent to me. In the end, just after one email, they completely understood the transparency and my belief system that I had to come clean with my audience, and they were more than happy to let me tell you as is. So that's why I am able to tell you that the wheels were sent to me, and that is what you're seeing today. So Magene, thank you for allowing me to be transparent with my audience, and I'm sure my audience appreciates that as well. So as I mentioned in the intro, there are just so many wheels to even choose from, whether that's Western or Eastern. And let's talk about Chinese wheel sets for a brief second here. And to respect Magene, who was kind enough to send me these wheels to show you guys, I will actually elect not to mention any other names of the Chinese wheel companies. This wheel set retailing at $1,100, that is a direct in competition with something like a Zip 303S, which is right around about at that price point, as well as Shimano 105 wheel set. So the question is, are we just paying extra for the Western brands, for all their marketing and so on and so forth? Or is this a great value, maybe possibly surpassing the ride quality or whatever else you would get from something like a Zip 303S at about similar price range? Okay, so let's talk about the company first. Well, actually, I really don't know very much about them. When they first reached out to me, I actually had to look them up to see what they all make. But I was pleasantly surprised. They actually have a pretty decent product portfolio. Not only they make these super carbon wheels, but they also have sensors. They make the cycling computers, indoor trainers, so on and so forth. The EXAR wheels come in a couple different flavors I have found out. So they come from a standard, Pro, and Ultra, the top dog, and Ultra wheel set is what I'm about to show you today. And the DB Ultra wheels come in two different depth profiles. So this set that I tested out is DB405, and the 405 denotes 40 mil depth at the front and 45 mil depth in the rear. They have another set, which is DB508. Can you guess what the rim depth would be? So that the DB508 would feature 50 mil depth front wheel and 58 mil rear depth. So DB508 would be a set that provides more aero benefit, those of you chasing aero gains. And the EXAR wheels are UCI approved for what it's worth. And in terms of the material chosen to build these wheels, in their marketing material, they cite that the aero carbon bladed spokes are T800, as well as the rims themselves constructed with a T800 carbon. And the hub itself features 36 tooth ratchet engagement, so that is pretty quick in terms of engaging that rear hub to start propelling forward. And their marketing material also cites the internal rim width at 23 mil and external rim width at 30 mil. Okay, so to go along with that, I decided to equip the front with my Pirelli P0 Race TLR 26 mil at the front and then 28 mil in the rear. Now, both the wheels balloon out 1 extra millimeter than what's shown on the casing. So for instance, the rear wheel, the tire is 28 mil, but in actual, after you pump it up, it becomes hair over 29 millimeter in width. And then because I'm such a loser, I forgot to weigh the wheels when I first received them, but looking at their marketing material, the DB405 Ultra that I had the pleasure of testing weigh in at 1,290 grams. That is just mind-boggling. And then the DB508, which has the deeper profile, more aero, that set comes in at 1,375 grams. Magene, if you're hearing this, I would love to test those out as well to share with my audience, but there you go. Okay, so it is well said on my channel, I say it repeatedly, and yet I do exactly the opposite, which is I really don't care for unboxing. However, most of you that's interested in this wheel set will end up having to buy sight unseen because you would order directly from Magene. It's not something you can touch, sniff, and scratch at a local dealer. So I thought unboxing would be value added in terms of you getting to see how the wheels would be delivered to you. So I am gonna actually take you back to this past winter when I first opened these wheels out of the box, and let's get in the time machine and go back, and I'll meet you at the end of unboxing to the present day. Okay, busting through the brownish, yellowish exterior packing tape. That actually was super hard. We are going to take a look. Okay, so at the very top of the box, a little foam thing to protect. And we have a package in here, so let's take a look at what's in this before we bust out the wheels. Okay, so inside the little package, air bubble protected package, out comes. Included are 2 tubeless stems. Nice touch, looks well machined. All right, no issues there. So let me push those aside and put those right there. And then included a roll of tubeless rim tape, which means the wheels may not have been pre-taped out of factory. And normally I prefer factory to do the job first. That way I don't have to deal with it. But okay, no problem there. And then each wheel packaged separately, and we have very thick padding, foam padding to protect the wheel during transfer. And there is your carbon rim, which I'm showing you the rear first. So now I'm just inspecting the wheels to see if there's any visual imperfection or any issues with the wheels just out of the gate. The nipples look pretty uniform. All right, I will have to inspect the wheels closely in better lighting condition. But let's talk about the exterior, the way they look. So, where is it? Right here. So you got your product name stamped on the wheel, on the rim surface. Looks pretty good, looks pretty classy, right? Not the biggest fan of a gold color, but that's all right. And you got your the company's EXAR product logo marketing. Pretty subtle in my opinion, looking pretty good. And then you also see EXAR product name right there. The rim bed, it's pretty well machined. It's a slightly rough to the touches. When I say rough, I'm being nitpicky here. I'm not saying there's a problem that I'm noticing. It is just a slightly rougher texture than what I would normally see. But the wheel, the rear wheel looks pretty solid. And the spokes are bladed. Very aero. All right, looks solid. Let me show you the front wheel. The front wheel did not come with the thick foam padding like the rear, but pretty much the same affair. You could definitely see the shallower depth on the front wheel because the front is only 40 mil deep. Great. The spokes, again, aero bladed. All right, so the front looks pretty solid. What else is in the box? Nothing else is in the box. All right, so that is the unboxing of the EXAR DB405 Ultra, which is their top of the line wheel set. Okay, so we are back to the present day, and I'm gonna start by talking about being tubeless. So in the unboxing a couple months ago, I mentioned how the rim beds were a little rough to the touch. And that actually, whether that was intentional or not, it's a blessing in disguise because the rim tape goes on and it sticks to the rim beds very well. You know how you have to scuff the inner tube before you put the patch on? Kind of sort of a same thing, I think. So instead of being buttery smooth rim bed, that extra little texture there that almost felt rough played great actually, because the rim tape went on just fine. And in first shot, both the front and rear wheel, I was able to get the tires to be seated correctly, so no complaint there. All right, so before I start talking about how the wheels ride, let me put out a disclaimer and make something very clear with the audience here. Because the wheels were sent to me, I'm gonna try to hold back on any opinion, because for me to sit here and say how everything is rosy and it's just the best set of wheels ever, that would really make me sound like a shill to the company that is kind enough to send me. So I'm gonna hold back on opinions and rather demo and try to give you the facts, although some thoughts may be sprinkled here and there, so do keep that in mind. Let's go on with how they ride. On my channel, the most popular episode is the episode where I have like 4 to 5 sets of different wheels and I talk about which one I like the best. And in that episode, I mentioned how I personally feel something from 40 to 50 mil depth is really the perfect for, especially those of us non-pros where we're not racing to put food on the table. For everyday set of wheels, something 40 to 50, just perfect in depth, because you get the aero benefits more so than your traditional box rims, but also at the same time you're not so deep in the depth where you're just getting blown around when, you know, your homie riding next to you blows snot rocket and that creates enough turbulence where you're just all over the road. So 40 to 50 being perfect depth. I mean, this wheel set comes in at 40 front and 45 in the rear, and the other set they sell, DB405, that's 50 in the front, 58 in the back. I mean, I would say that's still pretty reasonable in terms of being everyday wheels. Earlier I said how I would stay away from giving you any opinions, but there is one thing that I want to say and share with you before anything else, is how incredibly stiff these wheels are. Now, I get that you and I may have different standards in what constitutes as stiff, what constitutes as soft, because you and I are not working on the same measurable, definable metric. So that said, and some of us also may prefer stiff wheels, and some of us may prefer a little bit more compliance, a little bit of a flexy wheels. So, you know, what floats your boat is different here. I get that. Having said that, I personally prefer stiff wheels. I want the wheels to be as stiff as possible because I'm more or less looking for compliance to come from tire width, the tubeless, the less air that's in there, and the frame geometry and stuff like that. That's where I'm looking for compliance. The wheels themselves, I want them to be just absolutely positively as stiff as possible. And these wheels absolutely deliver in terms of stiffness. Now, if you are the type that prefer flexi wheels, I get these wheels may not be for you. So currently, my wheel sets that I'm rolling on Shimano Dura Ace, I'm rolling on Zip Firecrest wheels, I'm rolling on some Hunts, I'm rolling on NV 4.5 SES. So these wheels are that I'm riding every day, along with when I was testing these EXAR DB405 Ultras. And when I say these wheels are stiff, I'm measuring against those other wheels that I'm saying, so take that for what it's worth. The wheels handle predictable, and the stiffness and lightweight characteristics really come through, especially when you're climbing. Since I was sent these wheels, I can't tell you whether I got any sort of a special treatment or not. That much I cannot tell you. The person that I dealt with was definitely based in China, based on the time of communication that went back and forth and such. But this person's English was incredible, actually, even better than my English probably. So there was no communication issues there, and that is important in terms of customer service, because oftentimes when you're dealing with Far East companies and you're not taking a product back to like a local dealer for any sort of a service needs and what have you, the communication becomes important. And I actually had zero issue with the person that I was dealing with, and that is also something that I can attest to, because I needed some extra part after I got the wheels, and the handling of that was very prompt, very speedy, and just a whole interaction was something that I actually walked away from thinking, this is a pleasant experience. One of the things that concern me with the wheels in terms of long-term longevity is they have the product branding right here, which it says DB405 Ultra. That's kind of, it's done in kind of a gold like finish, and it is, you can probably hear it. So, I mean, even other companies, even like the Zips and Envies, they would have the product branding that is, you know, it's not beneath, it's not underneath some kind of a clear coat, because wheels, you know, they wouldn't have a clear coat, so it's usually stickers or decals and what have you. They have this kind of a silk screened branding over here. I bet you this is gonna scuff and scratch over long-term use, and that does concern me. But you know, it's like a snowboard, right? A lot of people ask me, hey, DC, what do you do to protect the frame of a bike and, you know, whatever. It's like, bro, it's a bike. It's gonna be on the road. It's like snowboard. It's gonna get scratched. It's gonna be chipped. I mean, that's just part of life. Wheels, they're rolling as you're riding. They're susceptible to rock chips and, you know, whatever. Something's gonna hit them. It's just par for the course. As that happens, the finish may be nicked a little bit, but that's just something that I wanted to point out to you, because that seems obvious that that's gonna get jacked at some point. So many of you might even say $1,100, even for Western brand wheels, could be overpriced. And you know, you may be right, you may not be right. I'm not here to argue that point, but the Chinese or Far East brands, they're able to bring you performance at a value proposition, the price, for a couple of different things. They probably don't need to adhere to like ISO international standards. I don't know if they really are governed by that. Now, they do carry the UCI approval for what it's worth. And I believe Western brands need to conform to some kind of an insurance standard. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, if you know better than I do. So, and then, you know, you're paying for Zips and Envies for their wind tunnel time, for their marketing, research, engineering, and all that. So all that is baked into the cost of the wheels that you buy. Whereas somebody like Magene with their EXAR line of wheels, they may not have as much budget set aside for marketing, and maybe their wind tunnel time either non-exists or they have a substantially less wind tunnel times than these Western brands. I don't know. I don't work there. This is just purely speculation. So all those things combined together, they're able to offer you this type of a wheel set that costs half the price, or like I mentioned earlier, on certain brands, you're competing directly against some of the well-known Western brand wheels. So one must ask, $1,100, are these worth it? If you're looking for quality at everyday price point, I mean, I think these should be in contention when you are choosing wheels. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you these are the best $1,100 wheels I've ever ridden, because I haven't ridden all the wheel sets. The days of Chinese products carrying certain reputation, I think those days are behind us. I think the Chinese manufacturers have caught on that the consumers are getting wiser and wiser, and they are looking for quality, not just cheap price. That said, I mean, I'm going to talk more about something else in my other episode that I'm going to put out later. But there are like the seat posts and the saddle that I got from Chinese companies, and those are incredible quality at bargain basement price, and I was absolutely shocked. So something like that. I mean, these wheels carry quality and all carbon construction, and the wheels are so solid, and that's just one word that I would use, despite the fact that I said earlier that I wouldn't lend any opinion in this episode. I can at least tell you the wheels are solid. On that note, I really don't wish to come on here and say something that really makes me sound like a shill just because the wheels were sent to me. And I'm not saying this because the wheels were sent to me. They did not pay me for this episode, and all they did was to send me these wheels for me to share with you. And at the end of this episode, I can just tell you right now that I was pleasantly surprised how these wheels performed. Price tag, whatever it says or not. Okay, so the Magene folks did provide me with a discount code, which is $50 off for anything $999 US and above. And I'll put all that information down below with the link where you could go buy a set of these yourself. And when you do buy them, obviously use the discount code that I'm gonna put down. Tell them DC sent you. Thank you, Magene, for supporting this channel, and I hope you, the audience, at least got to find out about a company, about a product that you did not know before, because I certainly didn't. So hope this episode was valuable to you. Thank you for your time. Until next time, I've been Diabetic Cycling, and you've been awesome. Keep the rubber side down, be safe out on the road, and be good humans. I'm out.